Hey guys, it's Katie. So yes, I wrote a note on my thing here. I have to call my school insurance company. So I made a project and I recorded it, but I don't really like it. So I'm gonna modify it a little bit. And let me show you what I've done, because I haven't finished it, but I want to just play around with something else. So I use kind of the faux stone techniques here and made a border, but it's too just bold for me. Might be good in fall. I also did this one too. I haven't finished sanding it and stuff. I kind of gouged it out to get different colors, but not in love with it. Okay. Now I want to try something else and try to make it a little lighter. So in a lot of the faux, well, anyways, we'll just do it. I am going to use some translucent clays today and alcohol inks. And I'm going to use Primo's translucent because for me, I think this will be a good time to use up some of my Primo translucent and save like my Cernit for canes that I want a clear background. So this is some that I chopped up months ago on that video and added some liquid clay in it because I really wanted to make it softer. So maybe that's enough. And maybe a couple more. Let's just do some more. So I'm going to take sections of this, probably equal amounts. And I'm going to add, because this one's very, very opaque. And I want to see if I can lighten this somehow. So how many? No, maybe I want four colors worth. Yeah. I want to see if I can lighten this somehow, because that's just too dense for me. You know what I mean? Too opaque. I want it lighter, especially since we're going to be in spring soon. And I've had a couple days, it's the beginning of March, I've had a couple days of 40-degree weather. It won't last. It'll be down in the 30s this weekend, but it's getting there. So I want some brighter colors, so I'm going to use my alcohol ink. Some of them are the, Rangers. Some of them are the Pinata, the Jacquard Pinata brand. But I kind of want to go, let's see, what color theme do I want to do? Do I want to do blues? Like, I have a big box here of alcohol inks. I love alcohol inks for mixed media, for like, even like I got a little trash can in my bathroom and I sponged on alcohol inks. It was just like a silver one and I wanted to give it some flair. So, hey, I used it on an old mirror frame. You can use alcohol inks on like anything. It's awesome. So maybe we'll go, do we want to go blue tone? Yeah, maybe we'll go blue tones. I don't know if I really want to go pink. I don't like purple very much. We could go pink. I could totally do pink. Could do yellow. But I think I might stick with these kind of tones. So what's this one? Mermaid, pool. And I'm just winging this, guys. I have no clue what this is going to come out with. I do like the Baja blue. What's this one? Aqua. We have aqua, patina, sailboat. These are all different colors you can get. Oh, the teal might be nice. Isn't teal and mermaid very similar? I feel like I might have said that before. Teal and mermaid. Let's see. Patina's really green. Do I want to go crazy and add a little like yellow in there? Do I want to? I don't know. Let's do some teal. Let's see what teal and mermaid look like, because I found a lot of the pinatas look like a color from Ranger as well. So let me just, okay, so this is mermaid and Ranger. Let me do the same thing with the teal. I feel like I've done one of them that looked almost the same. Almost the same color. Just this one. Hang on, I got more on it. Almost the same exact color. So, whether you buy the Pinata or the mermaid, I think they're very similar. So let's do, now you can roll these out ahead of time, or you can just flatten it or have sheets, however you want to do this. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to squish it down a little bit so I have more surface area to set this on. And it is still crumbly, but once I get it working, it'll be fine because I've already used some of this. Okay, so let's, on this one. Now I do want these lighter, but I do want them saturated with color. So that's quite a bit of alcohol ink. And then let's take this one. Maybe we'll do the pool. That's a pretty light color. I don't want to get my fingers all over it. I should have started with my lightest color first. Oop. Sorry guys. I just want to flatten these out a little bit so I have more surface area to lay this on. And again, I'll get it all conditioned. It's not conditioned now. It's been sitting chopped up in a bag. So let's do some of the pool. This is a nice light color. I don't want it to run off, which is why I'm trying to flatten it out. And I may have to do this in stages, like put some on the top, mix it in, put some more. I may have to modify my colors as I go. Okay, so this one is teal. This one is pool. Let's do Baja blue. I love the Baja blue. It's nice and bright. Especially like on white, mixed in with white. And again, I'm probably going to do this in layers. And then the last one, let's do a lighter color. Oh, the aqua. That's a nice pale color. I don't know, I'm making stuff up. And I did say today on my Facebook page, I've only been doing polymer clay, I think I lied, about 1.5 years, but I've only been making jewelry for about 1 year. Most of it I was making mixed media embellishments when I first started with it. So my videos are for beginners by a beginner. It's to make a project and work through the troubles that you may have. That way you don't have to make the mistakes. You can see me make this mistake, and then you can move on. You know what I mean? So you're not recreating the mistake everyone else has recreated when they first started too. So I haven't been trained a whole bunch of this. I don't watch any videos. I did watch basic videos in the beginning for sure, but I don't watch a lot of videos now because I don't want to get told I'm copying or anything. So I do not watch videos anymore. I even signed up for one of these free class things that's going on. This right now it's the beginning of March. There's a free master class and you get an email, and I even I'm not going to do it because I don't want to risk using someone else's technique. Okay, so what we need to do is let these dry. And again, I would start by mixing your lightest color first and then moving on. So, you know, this is my lightest color. I'm wearing gloves so I don't get my gloves too dark. I'm going to start with this light color. So this needs to dry some on the surface, and then I'll mix it up. And then I'll come back when I have it mixed up to tell you if I'm going to add more or not. I have kind of a vent today. Can I vent a little bit? I'm going to vent. So I had a patient the other day. Is this dry enough? Who, for the 3rd time consecutively in a row, came in 15 minutes late. Okay? Now, I am a dental hygienist. Every hour we have a patient, okay? Every hour. In an hour appointment, we have to get your medical history. Legally, we have to do certain things. We have to get your medical history, check your meds, get your dental history, so how are you brushing, flossing, that stuff. We have to discuss what we're going to do, x-rays, gum measurements, perio charting, stuff like that. We have to do the cleaning, which, by the way, is not an easy thing to do, especially if people are not flossing or brushing or haven't had a cleaning in 3 or 4 years. We also have to wait 10 minutes for the doctor to come in, or more, sometimes a little less, take x-rays. We have to do all of that, do the gum measurements, do the x-rays, do the cleaning. So this kid, I say kid, he's my age, in his mid-30s, 3 visits in a row has showed up 15 minutes late. And our office policy is if you show up 15 minutes late, we reschedule you. Now, anytime someone, he showed up 14 minutes late this last time. The time before it was 16 minutes. So that leaves me with 45 minutes for the whole visit. They come back and ask me, and I'm like, yeah, I can do it, you know. So the first time it was, I pulled someone out of the ditch. And he gets kind of ruder each time. The first time it was, I was pulling someone out of the, I said, I'm going to be moving a little faster today because we're running a few minutes behind. So, because I feel like I'm running like a chicken with my head cut off when people are late. That's how I personally feel as the clinician, okay? Because I lost 15 minutes. So I said that to him. He goes, well, next time if I see someone in the ditch, I won't help them. That's not what I'm saying. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm saying at all. Give me a call. Because if you're late, okay, I could be folding the laundry. I could be cleaning the instruments. I could be sharpening my instruments. But if you're supposed to be there at 10, I'm sitting there waiting at the front desk. 10, 10:05, 10:10. 10:15, not doing anything productive because you could walk in the door at any second, and to know you're there, I need to be in front of a computer. And I'm not in front of a computer if I'm doing the laundry or if I'm in the lab doing something. So literally I'm standing there for 15 minutes, twiddling my freaking thumbs, watching out in the parking lot, waiting for him to walk in. So anyways, he's like, I won't help someone next time if they're on the side of the road in the ditch. Like an asshole kind of thing, I thought. But anyways, okay, yeah, I left it. This last time, he did it another time, came late. This last time, he walked in 14 minutes late, and he goes, I'm only 2 minutes late. I thought my appointment was for 10:10. Meanwhile, that's 4 minutes. And I said, no, your appointment was for 10. Oh, well, our thing said 10. We send a postcard out 3 months ahead, right? He goes, well, our postcard said 10:10. I was like, okay. So I pulled up the schedule, and in our software, while I'm mixing this, I'm telling you this story. Anyways, some of you can skip if you don't want to listen to my story. Now, in our computer software, I can look at an appointment and who's touched it and who's shrunk it and who changed the times and who scheduled it. So I pulled it up, and I said, see here? I said in April 7th, at your last cleaning, I scheduled at 10. That's weird that the postcard would say 10:10. And he's like, my wife just looked at it. It said 10:10. I was like, wow, something's wrong. I said, if our software, now, granted, if his postcard was wrong, we have about 50 patients a day. We have 5 hygienists. We each see 10 to 12. Then we have doctor. So we see about 50 plus patients a day. You think someone else's postcard would be wrong. Because we print postcards, we hit print postcard, and it prints from what date to what date you said it. It's automatic. So I said to him, oh, well, if your postcard's wrong, that means our software is messed up. And if our software is messed up, we got to fix this because something's wrong here. And so he texts his wife again, right? Because he just texted her, and he's like, yeah, my wife said our postcard said 10:10. So he texts his wife again, and her thing says, our postcard said 10:10. I think he read that, and he shows me his phone, and following his wife writing, our postcard said 10:10, they're effing pricks, she wrote. And he shows me this phone. I think he only read the first line, and he didn't read the effing prick part. So he shows me this, and then I think with his eye reaction, he realized he just showed me that she called us pricks. So I said to him, and I should have just probably dropped it, but I said to him, I said, okay, have her send us a picture. I said, that way I can call the company and prove to them that this was wrong. And so he texts her back. Actually, he FaceTimed her, which is weird, but he FaceTimed her, and she goes, I can't find it. I'm like, so if she just looked at it and it said 10:10, and now she can't find it like 3 minutes later? Okay. And so anyways, he called the next day and said he didn't want to see me, which I got a talking to because I should just let it go. But he also said during that appointment, your front desk, so he said the postcard said it, and then he goes, yeah, and your front desk, when they do the reminder call 2 days ahead, they never tell me the time. I'm like, that would be weird if our front desk called just to say, hey, you have a dental appointment, and didn't tell you the day or time. Like, why the hell are we wasting 4 or 5 hours a day calling 50 people at their 3 numbers, home, cell, and work, to not tell them what time they're supposed to be in or on what day. Like, yeah, that makes a bunch of freaking sense. So he was like blaming everybody, but saying, just say, sorry, I'm late. So, long story short, if you're ever late, can you please just say, I'm sorry, I'm late? Like, honestly, shit happens, and I get it as a hygienist. What bothers me is they walk in and they go, yeah, I know, I'm a little late. Not, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm a little late. Like, when I'm late, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm a little late. I usually call if I'm going to be a few minutes late. I'll be like, hey, I'm on my way. I'm 2 minutes down the road. That way they know they don't need to keep standing there waiting for me. I'll be there in 3 or 4 minutes. But sorry, I'm late. That's a great thing to say. The reason why I say this is my next patient going to walk in on time. Because you came 15 minutes late, I'm going to run 15 minutes into that person's appointment, who is a nurse and is on her lunch break and has 5 kids, or is at the end of the day and trying to get home to pick up the kids from sports, and she's going to be yelling at me because I made her wait, not because you were late, and I can't be like, sorry, ma'am, I'm late. My last patient was late. What the hell kind of excuse is that? That doesn't have anything to do with her. And most people will yell at us. If you're over like 5 minutes late, they'll be like, well, I've been sitting there. So then I'm just late all morning. And he was my first patient of the day. So that means I was 15 minutes late for the hour patient after him, the hour patient after him, the hour patient after that. And then I ran and got a 10-minute lunch. So, and then I got a talking to about it. That was a whole rant, guys. And I am so sorry about that. And I just took 10 minutes ranting. But I needed to get it out. I'm so upset that my owner, like, she doesn't even work in the office. She gave me a talking to about it. That I should just let it go. And if they have buildup and they come late, well, I just leave the buildup in their mouth. I have a hard time half-assing cleanings. Because if I leave that chunk of buildup on your teeth, you'll probably have a cavity by next time. But that's what they want a hygienist to do. In any office I've worked at in 15 years, that's what they want us to do when you guys come late. They want us to skip things. Just so you know. It's not just my office. It's multiple offices. They want you to just skip the x-rays. Well, what if you have a cavity in there and now we're going to wait another 6 months? Okay, we'll leave some of the buildup. Well, if I leave some of the buildup, that's going to eat away at the tooth. Well, don't get off all the stain. So then we have twice the amount of stain next time, and your teeth are looking dark gray? No. Like, I have a hard time with that. Like physically, I'm too type A to leave stuff on your mouth. So that one I'm adding more to. This one I also added more to, but I might need to do it a 3rd time. Let me mix these 2 up because these are pretty dark colors and see if once is enough. See how much softer this is getting now that I've been working it and working the clay softener into it and warming it up. It's cold in my basement. So once you just get it moving, it's been chopped up in clay softener for like 6 months. So it is ready to go. It just needs to be conditioned because this was like clay I could not condition at all. For the life of me, I was pounding it with a mallet, rolling it out. I mean, you saw how crumbly it was when I made the crumbly clay video. So anyways, this is much better now. It's got to be worked a little bit more and warmed up. It even feels cold to my touch, but... And also, just so you know, once you're happy with your color and you get it mixed in fairly well, you can run this through the pasta machine. I would not stick it through the pasta machine like this, because this is going to get all over. So get it mixed in a little bit and then stick it in your pasta machine. Like, this is worked in enough that if I stick this in my pasta machine, this is not coming off on my rollers. So once you get a tone that you're like, I'm pretty happy with that, run it through your pasta machine to condition it. I'm going to make this one slightly darker, just a little bit more. This is the 3rd time. This one I think I'm going to be happy with. These 2 I think I'm going to be happy with. So let me, like I said, I'm going to get them mixed up and let me just mix these and I'll tell you when I would put it through my pasta machine. See, now it's quite marbled and if I stick it on my counter, it's not coming off, that's when you're okay to stick it in your pasta machine. When like you can stick it down on your table and nothing's coming off, that's a good point because it's not going to get all over your roller, okay? So I'm going to continue mixing this one, and this one, and I will be back. But I wanted to tell you that you want to get it going first when it's in a pile like this. But once it's incorporated into some of the clay, then use your machine to condition the rest of it. You know, let your machine do the work. Because cranking it is way easier than mixing it fully by hand, that's for sure. So I have them all mixed up. Again, this is pool. This one is teal. This one is Baja blue. And this one is aqua. So I have them all mixed up now. Now what I'm going to do is begin tearing them or chopping them. Because it's kind of crumbly, it actually works. But I'm going to keep them in separate piles. That way I can try to distribute them a little bit more even. And I'm going to try to keep them small. So in this one here, just so I can talk you through it while I'm doing it, I used some red clay, 2 different color reds, some orange, a weird pink scrap, and some gold. And, oh, alizarin. And I chopped them up, and then I coated them in alcohol ink. So I chopped them up and I put them in a bag, and I squirted in some gold alcohol ink. I think it was Enchanted. That was a Ranger Pearl. It's called Enchanted, which is like a dark red pearl alcohol ink. And I think the Orange Pearl alcohol ink by Ranger. I don't know what the name of it is. And I squirted that on the pieces in the bag and then let it dry. And then once it was dry, while they were all still in little pieces, I squirted some black paint on it. Now, again, it's kind of like what people do with faux stones. It's not a bad technique, and it doesn't look horrible, but I want to see if I can get something better for me, aesthetically more pleasing to me. Now, one thing I did notice is my pieces are really big, so that's why I'm going even smaller than what I did before, so little shards. The other thing is I'm going to keep them in piles. So when I tore it up before, I mixed all my colors in one pile. And I found like here I have a whole bunch of red and a whole bunch of gold slices sitting next to each other. And I want to try making that a little more diverse. So I'm going to put them in their piles, and then I'm going to make a big pile by sprinkling in little bits. And this crumblier clay does work better. I mean, it might be hard to get it to mix in, but the slightly crumblier translucent will keep my pieces more separate, so I can hopefully mix them in a little more loosely. So I'm going to continue tearing these up, and when they're torn up, I'll be right back. And you can chop it up too if you want. I'm just going to tear it. Okay, so they're all chopped up, and I want to try a couple other things. Like I said, I'm winging it here, and I want to see how it's going to work. Now, I have all of my metal foils, and, you know, I did put this pack on my Amazon. There is a blue color in this, but it's quite a deep blue, and I think that's too dark. A baby blue might look cool if I don't think I have one. So in this pack that I put on my Amazon, you get this pink. I don't want it to get on my clay, but you get this bright pinky color. Anyways, you can see it well enough. Oop, there's a piece. You get pink. You get the basic silver and gold. Let's see. You also get that color, which is like a pink purple. Almost the color of my gloves. You get you get this color, which kind of reminds me of a coppery color. You get silver, obviously. You also get, what's this one? Oh, that's like a blush, like a rose gold tone. You get a green. Green. You get a purple. Can you see it there on the corner? Pretty bright purple. And then a red, I believe. Yeah, a red. So you get all these colors in this pack. But I think I'm going to try to just stick with silver, because I'm going for a lighter thing here. If I had a pale blue, I think that would work well. But I don't. I have a dark blue. And that dark blue reminds me more of like the winter tones. And they come in this pack with rubber bands on each one. So I think with the silver, I probably have a junk sheet in here of just like pieces left. I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of that. That's why I kind of fanned them out. If I can get it off my glove. I'm just going to kind of grab some of this and lay some chunks in there and see if it shows up or not. But I wanted to get some on each color. But I want to also stuck to the clay, because I did it on the other one and it stuck to the, I put it on when I put the black paint on the outside of the chunks, and most of it I sanded off. So I want this stuck to the clay more than I want it inside. So when I sand it, whatever we're putting on the outside off, I can see some silver flicks. Maybe a little bit more. And you might not like it, so don't do it. I'm a big silver fan. Okay. Then I was also thinking, so I have these mica powders that are nail powders from Born Pretty. And I have absolutely no clue what color it is, because all it gives me is a number, and I think I got them on, I have eBay maybe, and all it says is 06, but you can see it kind of has this blue undertone. So I'm going to flick some of that on there. So experiment. Not a lot, but just some here and there. Now, someone on my Facebook page the other day asked if people are allergic to polymer clay, because since she's been working with polymer clay, which it could totally be not even polymer clay, she's been getting nose issues. Now, I do know from Fiona Abel Smith, she said, no, was it Fiona Abel Smith? Or the, it's either Fiona Abel Smith said it, or, God, what is her name? The stay-at-home. She's another polymer clay lady with a British accent. Stay-at-home wife, or I don't know. One of them said that the mica powder is what irritates them, so they have to wear a mask with mica powder. So just throwing that out there. So then I'm going to kind of toss these all together on my board. I can just use my hands. I don't know why I'm not. I'm not trying to stick them together. I'm just trying to toss them together. If you see any big clumps of your colors sticking, and then I'm also kind of fluffing around the mica powders. But I don't have a lot on there, just a little bit of shimmer. I don't know, you might look at it later and go, that's stupid. Now really, you can't tell what this is going to look like until it's all baked, because right now it's on translucent clay and it's on Primo, so who knows what this is going to turn out like. If you want to know, when I was first cutting chunks, pull off a little piece and bake it and see what it looks like, and see if you like your color or not. So if you see any multiple colors of the same one stacking up together, like rip them apart. Right there, there's a clump of blue. It's looking pretty mixed, huh? Hoping. The mica will help it not stick together tons. Same with the silver leaf. But I don't have a lot of mica in there. And I didn't want to do an opaque mica, just a light one. Okay. So then we're going to take a Ziploc baggie. Or a cheap baggie, it doesn't matter what kind of baggie, just a baggie. If you're storing polymer clay seems to store well in Ziploc. But for something quick like this, I don't think it really matters because you're not leaving it in here forever. So get them all in your baggie. Run them through your fingers, break them up a little bit. And I think, you know, you'd probably get a different look as well, as if instead of just tearing the clay, you rolled it up into like little balls. You'd probably get a different look as well than jaggedy edges. So again, experiment and try different things. Okay, so instead of black, which what a lot of people do, I'm going to use some white. And I did lie to you earlier. I said I don't watch any videos. I do. The only clay videos I watch now is Polymer Clay Zoo. And I talk to him and he talks to me and he watches my videos and I watch his. And that's fine. But he is the only polymer clay artist I watch. Like I was even gonna do it and watch that free multiple artists over multiple days. And I was like, no, I shouldn't do it. Because then I'll get influenced and then you're not supposed to use their stuff for teaching, it said, and I don't want to be influenced by their stuff and how they go about it. I mean, that's not to say one of my projects might not eventually look like theirs, but if I don't watch how they do it, I hopefully won't do it their way. So, the next thing we're going to do is squirt some paint in here. White paint. I don't know how much I need, but I'm going to squirt some white paint down in there. And I'm going to close my bag so I get some air in there. And that way it's easier to toss it around. When there's no air in there, it's really hard to move it around. So let your bag get a little quickie. And I'm using the Deco Art, the Americana brand. That does seem to work with polymer clay, this brand. That looks pretty cool, huh? Now I also may add, I do have white alcohol ink I could add to see. No, I may not want to mix that with the paint because I don't know how it reacts with the paint. I think I'm going to add some more paint. I just blew some air in my bag. And then I think what I'm going to do is modify this even more. I think what I'm going to do. I don't know, guys. I'm just playing. So I got white paint on this. Now I'm going to grab one of my cardboard boxes that you know I use for my recycling. Fruit by the foot. I'm going to pour some of this out onto the recycling bin. Maybe half or a little more than half. And keep white. Set this aside to dry. Let me just spread it out a little bit. This one I'm going to set aside to dry. Now, what's left in the bag, I was thinking, what if we... Now, I don't know how it's going to react. Well, you know what? You know what I have? I have this extreme sheen metallic paint. This one's aquamarine. But I'm going to add some paint to it. Like a teal or a light blue. I also have that impasto paint, that teal color that I used when we did the first faux wood technique. I also have that tealish color. Maybe a little of this, just a little bit, because I want to tint the outside color to a bluish, maybe. Let's see what that gives us. Mix it with the white paint. Hang on, I need to blow some air in here. I'm hoping for like a baby bluish. I don't know, maybe I'll add dimension, maybe. Okay, so maybe I'll take some of that and pour it out onto the thing to dry. You can use a regular piece of paper or whatever. I just try to reuse my recycling if I'm just going to recycle it anyway. Okay, so that's that one. I don't know if you can see the difference on camera. I have about a quarter of it left. Let me actually pour out just a hair more. Okay, and I just have a hair left in here. I'm going to put a little more of the blue in there. Because maybe just a few, we'll have some different ones. And this will be the veining in between. So on this one I used black, and you get the veining when you sand it off. This is going to make the veining, anything you put on the clay. So the silver leaf, the mica, that's going to be what creates the veining when all these pieces get compressed together. And then the clay inside, the white outer layer, it's like having a hard candy shell. The inside is not being touched. This is making the hard candy shell, and then the inside isn't being manipulated at all. If you put air, it's way easier to mix this stuff up, to get it to like blast around in here. To get it out of the bag, I have to say. It's a messy job. At this point, we're done with the bag. So I don't know if you can tell that one's darker than that one, obviously darker than the white. I don't know. We'll see how this turns out, and maybe you'll get ideas of things you can do. It might look great, and I might do it again. Might look horrible, and I might modify it again. I made the red one to show you, but I'm not super in love with it for this time of year. Maybe I would like that red one more in fall. I don't think it's bad. It's not the tone I'm in right now. I'm kind of in intermediate between winter and spring. So that's too fall for me. Vermont, we have a lot of maple leaves, and they change color. And that's total fall colors for us here. So, as a lot of you saw last fall, that a lot of our trees go red, and I'm trying to get every little piece out of here, which I probably don't need to be that crazy about it, but okay. So we're done with the bag. Get that in the trash. Now I'm going to take this stuff and just lightly toss it so it can dry a little better. And it's okay if everything's not 100% coated. But you can also pull any big parts apart. And while your fingers are still a little messy, kind of get some more paint on there. If you see any big clumps. I would pause the camera, but I cannot. My hands are too messy, and I'm not taking these gloves off to waste another pair. So if you want to fast forward, go ahead and fast forward. And if you see any that have just too much solid clay, I mean, what we could do, take some of this blue or white or whatever colors you're using, put that on our fingers while we break it up. Recoat those in just some plain, this blue. I just want to make sure I don't get all these colors stuck together, but they actually look like they mixed well, because when I'm pulling these clumps apart, it's not usually the same shade of color. It's actually the different colors I mixed are stuck together. I'm trying to look for ones that have like all the same color stuck together. Okay, I think I'm looking pretty good, just to let it sit here and dry completely. So that's really the goal, is it just now it needs to dry, and I'm pretty impatient when it comes to this kind of stuff, to wait for it to dry. So I'm going to spread it out a little bit. And every few minutes what I'll do is I'll toss this around, because it will stick down, it will want to stick down to your box. But I mean, you could use a non-stick, you keep it on your tile, whatever you want to do, but I'm just going to toss it around every few minutes. Just to help, because the bottom's sitting against whatever you're working on, whether it's your tile or whatever, is going to stay wet longer than the top. So if you toss it around, it'll help it dry a little faster. Just like the top of your paint will dry faster than the bottom of your paint. Just tapping a few with this blue. I don't know, maybe it won't do anything. Maybe we'll get some darker blue spots, but it's a pretty transparent color, this aquamarine, I think it was. And I might even see if I can get a little more white going on there, like a little more opaque white. There we go. Playtime. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry, and like I said, I'll stir it up with an instrument every few minutes, or something like this, an old clay tool. I did the black one yesterday, and so yeah, when it's almost dry, I'll be back. Get these gloves off. So I just poured it out onto some parchment paper, and now that it's fairly dry, I'm gonna mash it together and make a sheet out of this. Now, I was just thinking of going kind of simple with this and just putting some white underneath it and seeing what it looks like. You know, I think I do have more. I have enough to do, I could think of something else to go with it, but I also have enough, I think, to do just a pendant with this. Now, because it's translucent clay, you will end up seeing whatever you put on behind it. So if you put a dark clay behind it, it's going to make these darker. So I was going to go with just white, was my thought. And this is a pretty thick stack right now. It's like a 1/4 inch. So it's fine. We just got to get it to start coming together. And compressing it. And we'll flatten this out a little bit too. Once I get it mainly in a block. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to take my roller and just kind of start to flatten it off. And you don't really care about this outside clay. That's not really, because we're going to sand all of this white paint off. So if some of it comes off on your roller, that's not the concern. It's what's trapped in between each piece is what's going to stay when we sand and give us the veining look. But it's going to be white, not black, which I'm hoping will give me more of a delicate look. Or, I don't know, just lighter a look. See if I can pick this up without running my blade under it so I don't have to clean my blade too. I mean, the paint is fairly dry. It is still a little wet, but like I said, I'm being a little impatient tonight. It's 9:46 on Thursday night. So I'm kind of rushing it along a little bit, but I should ideally let it dry all the way. But if I don't do it now, it's going to have to sit till tomorrow. Which some of this will sit till tomorrow. But I do also want to get some of this going tonight. That's still pretty thick. Now the other ones, I did roll through my pasta machine on the thickest setting, the red ones. Once I got it rolled out thin enough, I did put it through my pasta machine on the thickest setting in between 2 pieces of parchment paper. But this is still too thick. And it's okay if there's cracks and stuff. That's, you know, that's fine if there's bigger cracks. So I might take a section of this. That even looks cool on the side there, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to take a section of this and I'm going to try to put it through my pasta machine. Just to try to keep my machine a little cleaner. Maybe I'll roll it out this from here to here, or I should say the other way. So like this, from here to here, and that way I have all of this for it to stretch out. Up here it will stretch on the thickest setting, because right now it's probably twice the thickest setting. So let me see what happens here. Now it's not wanting to go through very well with this parchment. It went through really hard with the parchment paper. I actually had to pull it out the bottom. So, FYI, with the parchment paper, it went through really, really hard. So we'll see the difference between the looks of these. I'll keep this one for tomorrow. This one, I'm thinking I'm going to get some white clay, as wet as I can keep it, and we'll lay it on some white. So let me get some white. Let me find my white, hang on. And this is actually a really good time to use this Cernit and white translucent mix, because the white, it won't be a full opaque white, but it will be white enough to give me a backing. So this white that we used in those canes recently, these are all the cane slices and the sheets and everything. I'm going to use this and roll this out on a fairly thin, it doesn't need to be super thick, but on a setting. You just want a light color behind it. Let me flatten this out a little bit so I can get it through my pasta machine. So this is that Cernit mixed, Cernit white mixed with Cernit translucent. These are the scraps, which when mixed completely will bake fairly white. I did that with the lace cane. I took all my scraps from my translucent canes, and it will bake fairly white. It just will not be as opaque as pure white would be. Okay, so I rolled it out on setting 4. So because it doesn't need to be crazy thick, but because this is a size 0, so I just need a backing pretty much so I get an opaqueness from it. Now we can try leaving some of this translucent too and see what it looks like. And then I think I'm going to use my new cutters. I want to try it from Ojoy Creations. It's a lady on my Facebook page. She's been making cutters, and she sent me these ones, and I haven't used them yet because I didn't have anything really that would go with it. So I'm going to try that. Let me see, because I wonder if I can still fit another cutter on here if I place this right. And bake one with no backing. That way we can see the difference. So let me set this on the white and really kind of smush it down on there. Now the reveal is going to come with the baking or with the sanding. That's really where it's going to come from. So tomorrow when I sand this, because there's no way I'm sanding this tonight, that's really when you're going to see this. I'm just going to roll it on, make sure it's nicely smushed. I'm also going to cut some of this white translucent off now because I don't need all of this. I might as well save it. At least some of it, right? Now this is quite thick with the white and that color. So this is going to be quite a thick pendant, which I don't usually make them this thick. So it's going to take a lot of pressure to get it down in there. And you can use like an acrylic block also if you really need to get on the thing. Really push down. And it's not her cutter, it's because it's so thick of a piece. Oop. Yeah, I'll just leave that and mix that up as a scrap. I'll probably mix that up as a Natasha bead, or not a Natasha bead, but a lentil as well. So there's one. Or you could hang it that way actually. And then another one, let's cut another one out. Sometimes you have to clean your cutters if you get some paint on this. So take like a baby wipe or some alcohol. Let's cut another one out of just this sheet and I'll show you what the difference is. Let's see what shape I got going on here. I want to, actually that's a new one and I haven't used this shape. So let's use this one. Let's see what my next size down is. So this is 2 inches and this is 2.5. I think I want to go with a bigger one because I can always trim it down to make it, well, can I fit the bigger one? No, I can't, so let's go with the smaller one. That answered my question right there. And I do have more of this veneer I can use, but I'm just going to do 2 right now. I'm going to stick this one on and really smush it down to your tile to try to get your backing. I mean, you can put it on paper so you don't get shiny spots, but I don't tend to do that. That's just me because I sand the backs anyways. And let's, hang on, let me pick up my stuff here so I can stand up, and I just dropped my cutter. Let's do the same thing. Or the acrylic block. Boom. Okay. And then I wanted to do one more quick thing before I bake. So I want to take this one here and I want to make something out of this with the white and the blue. So what I'm going to do is let's take a hunk of it, maybe this end here. Let's roll up those into a ball as best we can. This will be the inside, if I can get them to stick together, because it's paint, so it doesn't make it as sticky. Or scrap clay, whatever you got. Like that. And let's layer some of these on here. Let's make a lentil out of this with a little white and this blue. Just lay it on in all kinds of weird ways. Let's see what happens. Now this isn't going to be very big, but I'm just curious to see what it does, because sometimes your scraps really make some cool things when you make them into lentil beads. Like truly. They make some cool veneers and stuff, even though, or good backings, even though this wouldn't be a really big backing, but once I flatten it out, maybe a smaller little piece of white right there. I mean, I definitely could have made that bigger. And then roll it in a ball, get it to stick together. And then swirl it. Find a spot you think would look cool to swirl. Let's swirl this up. And again, you can roll it back into a ball and swirl in multiple areas. If you want it, right now we're doing the top and the bottom, we're swirling. But if you want to swirl multiple areas, just roll it, like I said, roll it back in a ball, pick a different spot to swirl, and swirl that. So we got some of that swirled right there. And the bottom started too, and let's roll it back in a ball. And find an area you didn't swirl. And just go in the same direction over and over. And there's all, like I've said before, there's great videos on lentil bead making. It's not anything new. There's really detailed videos. When I first looked it up, there's like wicked detailed videos. It moves all over your table and off of your block. Oop. If you go in the wrong direction, it will unswirl. If I sometimes, when I go slower, it actually does it more, because I can put more localized pressure on it. Like it does it faster. Like I can really pull the clay. Oh, that side looks cool. Okay, let's flatten it out a little bit. That looks really cool, I think. And then you would just roll it out. And again, we're going to sand this, so it's okay if I get paint on it. A lot of times I use this for veneers, but I might just make something out of it. Like I'll use this for a backing. This is what I do with my scraps to make like different backings and stuff. Oh, I just squished a dog hair on there. Wonder if I can fit a cutter on that and see what that looks like. It's not really even. Let me run it through on a 0. I'm going to take it down to a 2 just to, because I got the ends thinner than the center, so I'm trying to get it all even. There we go. Now it's all even. Let me find a cutter for that. I could fit almost any cutter I want. Any one of my cutters at least. Let's see, what do I got? Again, most of them are from Metal Clay Studio. think I want something fatter. I have a shape very similar to that I think is Helen Braille's off of Etsy. This one. It's very similar to that one, but it's a little fatter. Ooh, the oval might look good. Actually, this oval might look cool. I kind of like this spot right there, because that white inside of there is like, do you see it? Oh, I really like that. I wonder what it's going to look like sanded. Like, do I want to just kind of put it off to the side? Swirl right in the center. I also like that crack right there. But I like this right here better. Oh, I should have done it on my tile so I didn't distort it. I'm just curious to see what these all look like. Getting stingy with tile space, though I could just use a whole new tile. Look how thick that one is. And so with this, I would roll this back up to a ball and use the rest of this to layer on the outside and do another one. And I can't wait. So these are going to get baked at a full hour at, usually I do 275. So I'm going to bake them for a full hour at 275. And tomorrow we'll do the reveal. Okay, so I'm out of work. It's Friday night and they're baked. I baked them last night. They're good to go. Yes, on my way home, I peeled some of my nails. Actually, I had to sit at the pharmacy for 45 minutes, even though my prescription, I called the refill in at 10 o'clock because they were changing from Rite Aid to Walgreens. So I did it while I was standing there. Anyways, so that's why they look like that. So this is the one I backed here, and you can see that's the excess cane I had for the white and the translucent. It's got some transparency to it, but it's pretty opaque still. So use your white and translucent scraps from your canes, your translucent and white canes. You can still those, or translucent and colored canes. You can still use that. Might not be as opaque, but it still works. And then when they're really thinned out, that's what it looks like. But this is really thinned out. These were those lentil beads. Look at the pretty shimmer we have in there, actually. So these two, I almost love the way they are. I almost don't want to sand them. Just because I really like the way they look as of now. Here's the back. Which I got a hair in it, I see now. But I'll sand that. I think I might pick one and keep it. Unsanded. The oval, I like that dark part at the top. Right up here. I like that a lot. But this one looks like crashing waves to me. I don't want to sand it off and lose some of that. I don't know. Let's start by sanding these first and see what they come out like. So I'm going to use my skill sander, and this will make this a lot quicker. Let me grab my papers. Now, some of these sandpapers are really, really old. I've been using them since I made those faux bowls in November, maybe. So they're pretty old. They're getting pretty beat up. But, so I'm going to start with a coarser grit because these are not new. If they were new, 400 would be fine. See, they're starting to separate. So I'm going to start with 320. And with this sander, you can just spin this thing around and get it to work on a different area. So you just put it off to the side a little bit. You know, you could put it in all kinds of directions. So anyways, I'm going to use my skill sander. I got my sanding bowl of water here to dip them in. And let's sand one. I'm excited to see where's my cloth though? I need my rag. so I can wipe them off. So I'm going to start with 320. I think I'm going to do this in a fast forwarded version, but I want you to be able to see it as it's sanding, okay? Okay, so it took me 4 minutes in real time to sand all 4 of these pendants. Now, these 2, I did not want to get rid of all that white, so I only did 1,000. No, I did 800, 1,000 up to 1,500. Because I didn't want to get rid of all this white. I actually really liked it in this. These ones I did, what was it, 350, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,500. I don't know, I went up to 1,500 today. Took me 4 minutes, like what's the big deal, you know? So, and the back's nice and smooth now. That's why I don't lay them on paper, because usually I get a nice smooth back anyways. I mean, they might have some indents in them, but whatever. I don't care, it's just a back. Again, here's this one. Really like that in there. That ghosting effect. It's like what you get with alcohol inks when you use alcohol inks on like Yupo paper. So let's look at these 2 because there's going to be a difference between the main 2. Now, one of them I backed and one of them I did not back. One of them's thicker, one of them is not thicker. So the look of it is going to be slightly different, especially held up to the light. Yep, especially held up to the light. This one's going to be more opaque than this one, and I can see a difference when I hold this up to the light. Do I have a flashlight around? I don't. I have my cell phone I'm using to record. I was hoping I had a flashlight right by that I could just shine behind it so you could see the difference. Maybe I'll see if I can find it. I know I have one down here somewhere. I just don't know where. I was hoping I just see it, but I don't see it. So anyways, I don't know if a lighter would do it. You can definitely see through, and that doesn't show you what I'm talking about. Hang on, let me hold this up to the light. Wait. Okay, sorry, make you dizzy. Yes, oh, that's all my stuff. So, but it's hard with the light there. It doesn't want to focus. So you can see how you could see through it with no backing. Whereas this one, can't see through it at all. Okay, so I don't know if that makes a difference to you. If you prefer no backing or backing. So anyways, they're ready to be buffed, and I actually really like them. It's definitely, it kind of gives me a reminder of the torn paper technique. Or some people call it the watercolor technique. But I don't know why they're barking up there. They were barking when I was sanding. But it's different. It's kind of like that, but different. More organic. Let me go see what my dogs are barking. See, my biggest problem is I don't know if you guys want to see me buff them or not see me buff them. You know I use my orange and white wheel. You know I buff around speed 15. You know all of this. So do you want to see them buffed or do you not? Maybe I'll do it in a fast-forwarded version. Maybe I'll just do this one and this one buffing up with my orange and white wheel. I don't know. I can show you what they look like after, I feel like. If you tell me you want to watch the process of me buffing them on camera, the whole process, you know, let me know if you want it real time or fast forwarded, okay? And if you don't, you just want me to show you the end result, I'll show you the end result. I have almost 100, I have about 100 videos, and most of the beginning ones, polymer clay pendant 1, 2, 3, 4, I showed you how I buffed. So I don't think I really need to, but I'm going to use both the orange and white wheel. I will trim the edges with this as well, so choke up on it and trim towards me. I will always trim the edge, smooth the edges up with my Dremel. Usually, I did sand the flat ones a little bit, but I usually do it with my Dremel. So I don't worry about the little pieces of stuff because I do it with my Dremel, and I just when I cut the pendant, I don't worry as much about making sure the edges don't have any slough on them because I just buff them. And then with this, I just go in all kinds of directions. Yep, sometimes you'll fling it. I actually have it going a little too fast. So I'll do the front and the backs a little bit. This one I'll do both because I could wear it either this side or I could wear it this side. This side's more green, this side's more blue. These I'll do both sides. And that's the nice thing about my jump ring and veils. They're the same on both sides, so I could wear this either way. If I'm wearing a darker shirt, maybe, or a bluer shirt, maybe I'll go more blue. Wearing a green or a paler shirt, maybe I'll go with the paler side. So we're getting a shine there now. And I use the orange wheel because it's slightly more coarse than the white wheel. And I feel like after I'm done both, I get a better shine than either the orange wheel or the white wheel alone. So I do have, I want to talk to you about something. Now, with some of the translucents, you can get these little bubbles in there. And honestly, for my Primo, I think there were still some dry spots in my clay. I think there were spots in the clay that moistened up really nicely, and other spots that were still a little dry and crumbly of translucent clay. And honestly, that bag I should chop back up and put some more clay softener in there. But you get this thing called plaquing, and it's just miniature air bubbles down in there, but I think it actually adds to the effect, especially in this design. Like you could see some plaquing down in there. And that may just be down here, a little air trap between the layers of the clay. But I really think it adds to this pendant in particular, because this is giving me like water feel. Like earth, fire, water, you know, like water. Elemental. I may make another color option, a pink color option, because I actually really, really like this. This will be great for the summer, honestly. So people ask me all the time how long it takes me to sand, how long it takes me to buff. It honestly depends on every pendant. It took me 4 minutes to sand 4 pendants. Granted, like I said, 2 of them were not all the way. And it will take me, 10-15 minutes to buff all of these. But it's worth it, I think. If it looks better before the resin goes on, it's going to look better after the resin goes on. Because the resin's like a magnifier. So why not make it look nice before? You do not want to get your resin on and go, man, I really should have sanded that. Or man, I really should have buffed that. Like, then you're kind of screwed at that point. So, might as well be safe and do it ahead of time. Sanding will depend on, one, how new your sandpaper is. How fast you are at sanding. If you're using a machine versus by hand. How smooth you got your pendant or earrings or whatever before you decided to bake it. The type of clay, because each clay will sand at a different rate. All kinds of stuff. So I have no clue. I can't give you an answer. Same thing, someone asked me today how long I wait for a cane to rest. Really, 5 or 6 minutes is great, but half the time I get to vacuuming or something and I won't get back to a cane for a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days. So it honestly really just depends. So that is the orange wheel. And then I'm going to go with the white wheel next. So just push the lock button down right here, untwist, pull it out, keep your finger down, push your lock, twist it tight, give it a tug. Do the same thing with your white one. Okay, so when I'm done doing this, I will be back and I will show you what they look like. And I will pick 1 or 2 to resin because I don't need to wear 15 of them. I'll probably pick 1 of each, and then, yeah. Okay, so they're all buffed. And I also think, like I mentioned yesterday, if you rolled this up into little balls, the pieces, you would, I think, get rounder ones than this. So piece number 1. I think I would have added a little more silver leaf, and I would have added a little more mica. So down here, where is it? Here, it looks like the placking, but if I actually, you see it right there? It's mica. I can't get it to focus well, but right there. In real life, I can see the mica. So I think I would have added more of that mica. So here's both sides. There's a little flake of it there, but not much. One of them you can see a lot of mica on. This one, I think I would have added more of the silver leaf because I got a little bit there. Maybe in the other piece that I still have. There's a couple pieces down in there that when you tilt them just right, they sparkle. Oh, there's a little mica. I just caught an eye right there. A little bit down there. So it just kind of depends on how you're tilting it. And then these two that we made the lentil beads out of, I really love these. Totally different look. Obviously, they're not going to be as smooth as the other ones because I didn't sand them as much, but the resin will. You get this really wispy look and more veining type thing in it. And this is the back. And then the last one, this one has the most mica in it. So this one here, so there's mica here. And down here. And then on this, when I turn it another angle, it's hard because the camera doesn't pick it up, but there's a strip in here. But in real life, it does pick it up. You see that mica right down in there? That's super pretty. I really like it. So I would have added more. And what's crazy is you can put your the interference micas, you can, that's what I've been putting on top of my nail polish to get it to be more reflective looking. It's kind of neat. It looks more green, but it's definitely different than that. Camera doesn't really show the color as well. I've been using this gel polish. It's an actual it was kind of a neat color. There we go, that's the real color. The mica kind of changes it a little bit and it's reflecting weird, so it looks weirder. Okay, so now I need to pick 2 and resin them. And so I think, see, I really like both of these, but I don't need to wear, myself personally, I'm not going to wear all 4 of these. Like, I just wouldn't, right? So I really like this one. I don't know, I like the mica down in it. I really like this one. I also do like this one too. But right now, they're ready to go to be resined. So usually I put these in my box. You can't see how a pendant turned out, and if it's a pendant that needs to be sanded, until it's sanded and buffed. Because once you sand it and buff, you might go, yep, no, I like this one instead of this one that I thought I'd like. So, you know, definitely sand and buff them, and then put them in your box. If you got 4 of the same ones, keep one for yourself, put them in your good box, and then if someone ever wants one, I can always resin it. Really easy, but I don't want to waste the resin and just resin 4 for no reason. So I think I'm going to resin this one. I do like this one, but I also like this one. And if I was going to wear this one, I'd probably resin both sides and then the edges. If I was going to wear it, if I was going to resin both sides, I usually do the edges as well. So I'm going to have to contemplate on which one of these I want to do. But I definitely think I'm going to do this one, and I'll save this one for a loved one or something. But I really like right there, this veining this one gets. So anyways,